Here's a question that sounds crazy until you actually think about it. Why has no foreign army ever successfully invaded the United States? And I'm not talking about the Revolutionary War when we were still British colonies. I'm talking about the 250 years since then. No hostile power has ever landed troops on American soil and held territory. Not during the Civil War, not during World War I, not during World War II, not during the Cold War, never. And here's the thing that'll blow your mind. It's not because of our military. Don't get me wrong, the US military is powerful, but that's not the real reason. The real reason is something far more fundamental, something that existed long before the first fighter jet or aircraft carrier. It's geography. And once you understand it, you'll realize why invading America isn't just difficult. It's essentially impossible. Let's start with the most obvious barrier, the oceans. The United States sits between two of the largest bodies of water on the planet, the Atlantic and the Pacific. To the east, it's over 3,000 miles of open ocean to reach Europe. To the west, it's nearly 6,000 miles to Asia. Think about what that means for an invasion. You can't just march an army across the ocean. You need ships, massive fleets of transport vessels, supply chains, fuel tankers, and constant air cover over thousands of miles of open water. Even the most advanced militaries in the world, China, Russia, none of them have the amphibious capability to pull this off. To put this in perspective, D-Day, the Allied invasion of Normandy in World War II, was the largest amphibious assault in human history. It took years of planning, millions of troops, and the combined industrial might of the United States, Britain, and Canada. And they were crossing the English Channel, a narrow strip of water just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. Now imagine trying to do that across the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean. It's logistically insane. Every ship becomes a slow-moving target. Every supply line stretches thousands of miles, and the US Navy would see you coming from halfway across the ocean. But let's say, hypothetically, an enemy somehow manages to cross the ocean and reach the American coastline. Congratulations, you've just arrived at your next nightmare, the interior. The United States isn't just protected by water. It's a fortress of mountains, deserts, forests, and Great Lakes. On the West Coast, you've got the Rocky Mountains, the Sierra Nevada, and the Cascade Range. These aren't gentle hills. We're talking about massive mountain ranges with limited passes, perfect for defense. Any army trying to push inland from California would have to navigate terrain that makes logistics a living hell. Down south, there's the Sonoran and Chihuahuan deserts. Scorching heat, no water, vast empty stretches where moving troops and equipment becomes nearly impossible. To the east, the Appalachian Mountains create another natural wall, dense forests, low population density, and countless choke points. And in the southeast, you've got the Louisiana bayous and the Florida Everglades, swampy, mosquito-infested death traps for any invading force trying to move north. This isn't just rough terrain, it's a geography designed by nature to stop invasions. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Let's say an invader somehow gets past the oceans, dodges the Navy, scales the mountains, and survives the deserts. What do they find? The American heartland. This is the Midwest, America's industrial engine, its agricultural powerhouse, and its arsenal. The Mississippi River system alone is one of the most strategic waterways in the world, allowing goods and military equipment to move rapidly across the interior. The Great Plains produce enough food to feed not just America, but a significant chunk of the world. Even if an enemy somehow captured the coasts, the heartland could sustain resistance for years, maybe decades. But wait, there's more. And this is the part most people don't think about, the American population itself. There are an estimated 400 million privately owned firearms in the United States. That's more guns than people. American civilians own roughly 46% of all civilian firearms on the entire planet. Montana alone has a gun ownership rate of over 66%. Even states with lower ownership, like Massachusetts, still have millions of firearms in civilian hands. And here's the kicker. There are approximately 15 million military veterans living in the US, people who've been trained in combat, tactics, and guerrilla warfare. Now imagine you're an invading general. You've somehow managed to land troops, push through the mountains, survive the deserts, and capture a city. What happens next? You're now occupying a territory where the local population is armed to the teeth and has millions of people with military training. Every town becomes a potential battleground. Every forest could hide resistance fighters. This isn't like occupying a disarmed European nation or a developing country. This is an armed, motivated, decentralized resistance that would make Vietnam or Afghanistan look like a walk in the park. And all of this assumes you could even get close to the mainland in the first place, because there's one more factor we haven't discussed. Forward defense. The United States has military bases in over 70 countries. There are roughly 160,000 American troops stationed overseas at any given time. Carrier strike groups patrol the world's oceans like mobile fortresses. Any hostile power trying to stage an invasion would have to fight through these forward positions long before reaching American shores. It's like trying to punch someone who has a 10-foot arm. You'll never get close enough to land the hit. Geography isn't just America's first line of defense, it's its greatest weapon. The oceans, the mountains, the deserts, the rivers, they've all combined to create a nation that's almost impossible to conquer. You don't need the world's most powerful military when nature itself has built you an impenetrable fortress. And that's the real reason why the United States will never be invaded. It's not about technology or troops or aircraft carriers, it's about the land itself. America's geography is its ultimate defense, and no enemy on earth can overcome it.